Well, spring is knocking on the door, and we've been out picking seeds up for all the things that we like to eat the most. And the thing we need to think about before we start putting them in the ground is, do they like each other? We've talked about companion planting before. And you know, some plants just don't go together. They share pathogens, so those are the diseases and pests, the insects that might bother. So for instance, tomatoes and potatoes, don't plant them together. They are going to share diseases and pests, and it's not going to be healthy for your harvest. Also, when you plant something after something else, that's succession planting, and we'll talk about that because the varieties you choose also impact it. But today, let's focus on friendships. So some of the early spring things that we got this year, looking on our trusty internet, you don't have to memorize what likes what. You can just Google. So I got collard greens this year, and I Googled what to plant with collards and found out, don't plant these cabbages. They're part of the same family, and cabbages and collards are not going to get along well. Cabbages and onions do great. I put some of our nice little red onions in behind these 3 white cabbage. These are an early variety. And even if you don't have very much room, well, you've got 2 veggies going in 1 small container. This is a number 5, forest green with cut handles. As always, vegetables love the superior drainage, the release of heat, and the root growth that our fabric growing containers provide. So even in a little spot, I've got some cabbage and some onions to enjoy in just a few short weeks. So the collard greens, they came over here to live with beets. I wanted to plant some beets this year. I'm hoping to both have beet greens and the vegetables, the root vegetables, and those are spring plants. So both of these I've put together. The collard greens and beets should be really happy and be nothing but good roommates for each other. So in companion planting, that's something that you can look up easily. There's so many combinations that really, I hope you don't feel like you have to memorize and know everything. Just look it up. The info's right there. We wanted to plant a happy garden for you today, a friendship garden, and I like to think of this as a Peter Rabbit garden. So I'm going to do a little demonstration for you with a milk carton liner. We've got our milk crate. We've put our milk crate liner in, and we've got our soil prepared. So let's move over and see what we're going to do with it. When I think about Peter Rabbit, I have a picture in my mind of Peter in his little blue jacket eating a carrot, and behind him are beautiful spring crops, lettuces, onions, peas. And the nice thing about Peter Rabbit was he was in a companion garden. Mr. McGregor knew what went well together. So we picked some of the same things. I found a sugar magnolia pea for the back. I'm going to do back to front, so the taller things are in back. So our sugar magnolia peas in the back. Then in the center, I'm going to put our carrots because they'll have their long, leafy, and lacy fronds coming up. Then some tennis ball, lettuce, and I'm going to throw in a few strawberries in front just because they're so pretty. They'll come up in the front and drape over. We'll have some red berries, and they also get along great with all these vegetables. So I started off, because we've got peas, we need a trellis. I found 2 small trellises, put them down inside our milk carton liner, filled it mostly with soil, and then I've secured them together with some twine. And on the bottom, I looped my twine through the holes in the milk carton. So that's holding up nicely. That's very sturdy and steady. It's attached to the container, not just in the soil. So I think we're going to have good results. I've lightly moistened our soil, as we like to do. And we're just going to start by planting. I'm going to take a little poker, and 1, 2, these are about 3 inches apart, 3, 4. I'm going to plant 5 of our sugar magnolia peas. They're showing that they're going to have a green leaf and a purple pod with pink flowers. So I think that's going to be super pretty. So we just drop these in the holes. We're going to come back and cover them up later. This way we know where they are while we plant. I'm going to put in an extra pea for good luck. That way if we don't get germination on one, we'll get germination on another. And when they come up, we'll just pick which one looks stronger and just snip the other one off right there at the soil level. We won't disturb the one that's growing better. So we've got those. Carrots are going to come next, our next tallest. I'm going to draw a line for our carrots, just with my finger, right across there. Carrot seeds are small. These are tough to not get big clumps, and it hurts my heart to thin them, but you have to do it, or you just won't get any good carrots. They'll all be growing together, and they won't have room. But we're going to definitely end up thinning some of these, but as lightly as I can, I'm going to put these soils down the little trench that I did with my finger. We won't waste seeds, and we won't have to get rid of so many. Okay, carrot peas growing up, carrots, lacy foliage. Next, let's put this cute tennis ball lettuce. This is about 12 by 12 by 12. So it's a square foot, a cubic foot of soil. There's room for quite a few little veggies in here. So even if you only have a picnic table, or you have a porch, or a balcony, or a deck, you've got room to grow some fun stuff. And you will enjoy watching it come, and you'll enjoy harvesting and eating it. Okay, so here goes our lettuce. Also tiny seeds. I'm putting these right on top of the soil. They will barely be covered, as will the carrots, barely covered. I'm going to put a little bit more of this in here. When these start coming up, I'm going to thin them as well. If we don't, we'll get nice leaves, a row, and we can snip them with scissors and keep harvesting. If we thin them, we'll get this round, pretty shape. So it's kind of up to you. You can do a bit of both. Do 2 rows. So those are done. And put the rest of the seeds back in here. And we'll use them somewhere else. Red onions, another one of my spring favorites. I'm just going to put in a few of these because I have quite a few in another container. Let me get some of the nice big fat ones. There we go. I'll clean them up a little bit. These guys aren't going to stand up right away, but they will. They're a little top heavy right now, but when those roots establish and sink down into the soil, then they'll perk straight up. Don't plant your onions too deeply. They really like to have the tops of the necks up out of the soil. It's a little tricky, but give them time to root. They'll work. So we'll clean that one up a little bit and put it right there. There we go. Last but not least, let's throw in a few strawberries for the bunnies. If you've got them up on your table, you can probably get to them before they do. These are always a treat, even if there's just 1 or 2. When you come out to look at the garden, to take a ripe strawberry off your own plant's pretty special. So I think I'm going to put I'll put the 3 biggest ones up front here. Now with these, I'm going to have to obviously make a little bit of a hole. You can see they've got some pretty nice roots growing here. I don't want to disturb them too much, just a little. Loosen up, tiny bit. Just with your fingers. This is nice light soil. You're about 2.5 inches, so poke it down. Pat it in. We'll give these guys a little security. And then we're going to lightly water, and maybe I think we'll put some straw on top of these to hold some moisture until we see some germination from our peas and our lettuces that are there and our carrots. This little Peter Rabbit garden is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be cute. You're going to love watching it. Keep it lightly and well watered. You don't have to drown it. All of these guys will take some pretty dry conditions. But remember that we have great drainage going here, so you don't have to worry about overwatering either. Spring's around the corner, guys. I look forward to coming back and taking a look at this when some things are climbing up the trellis and fluffing out our container. So happy gardening from Smart Gardening with Smart Pots. Come back again and subscribe. Join us. Send us your questions. Send us your pictures. And we'll see you next time.